So it's like they say there's no games, but there's like lots of games. Hi everybody, I'm Zach Groobs, and this is a rant video. I wanted to do a video about the games that are on the Switch because one of the things that annoys me is the suggestion from people that there aren't enough games on Nintendo systems, or there are no games on Nintendo systems. And the only Nintendo systems ever had no games, not very many, is the Virtual Boy. Even Wii U had hundreds of games. So I'm going to go through top 10 games that I've been enjoying so far on the Switch. I'm going to show you all of the games, or talk about all of the games that are on the Switch. Only a month and a half in, and then I'm going to discuss why I think some people have this misconception that Nintendo doesn't have games, or enough games, or the right games on their system. Alright, so obviously first up, Zelda. I mean, so much has been said about this game already. Obviously, it's the premier game on the system, the big blockbuster hit, and if you haven't tried it, it really does warrant all the praise that it's been getting. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it because it's just a gorgeous game, and so many people have already said enough about it. Oh, there's a shooting star in the distance. But if you haven't played this game and you have a way of doing it, you probably should. Next up is 1-2-Switch. This, I mean, a lot of people have said that this game is not worth what it costs. It's a party game, and it is a lot of fun in like groups and with lots of people, goofiness, and so I mean, if you're gonna get the system, you probably want to have something to play with people when you show it to them, something that's fun for multiple people, a room full of people to just have fun with. So I really think this is a good game, and I'm very satisfied with it. Alright, number 3 next up is Snake Pass. This game reminds me a lot of the games from Rare. It's like a platformer, like a puzzle platformer, except the controls they're very interesting and they're very unique. There's nothing else like it. You gotta sort of hold the trigger button to move forward and then slither left and right to try and navigate these environments and get through. This guy will lift your tail for you if you want him to, but Snake Pass, a lot of fun. Our next game is Little Inferno. This is a fireplace simulator game. It is one of the strangest games I've ever played, and by an indie studio called Tomorrow Corporation. They've brought three games over to the Switch actually, and it's a lot of fun. It's if you're looking for something creative and unique, this is definitely a good one to check out. Alright, the next game on the list is Shovel Knight, and this game is an indie darling. If you don't know about it yet, you must have had your head under a rock, but they brought this game over to the Switch, and all the new content that they've made, I would highly recommend checking it out. 3, 2. And the next game is Fast RMX. This game actually might be the graphical powerhouse of the Switch. It's got a steadier frame rate than Zelda, and it's a fraction of the size of the file. It's you know, you can tell by looking at it, a little bit of Wipeout, a little bit of F-Zero, but definitely a good one. Right, the next on the list is World of Goo, and this game was an indie darling when it was released many years ago, but it's got several Outfits Game of the Year awards on the Wii, and 2D Boy, who is now Tomorrow Corporation, is bringing this game over as well. If I hadn't already played this, I would be getting this on my Switch as well. The last of Tomorrow Corporation's games to make this list is Human Resources Machine. This game is actually teaches programming, basic programming, through the goofy narrative of this worker bee in this giant office tower trying to, you know, complete these mundane tasks, and it's actually really a very inventive puzzle game. So I love all the stuff that Tomorrow Corporation 2D Boy does. So if you haven't played any of their 3 games, you should definitely pick them up on Switch now. They're actually dirt cheap, so check them out. Alright, number 9 on this list is a game by an indie studio near Toronto or Waterloo or somewhere like that, and it's this game Gem, Graceful Explosion Machine. It is a whole lot of crazy. It actually uses the HD Rumble really well, and it's just a really slick looking game, really cool soundtrack, good visuals. And it's not. This is another one that I think it's like $12 American, like 14 or 13 Canadian, so pretty good deal. Alright, the last game on my list is this game, Mr. Shifty. It's kind of like a Hotline Miami mixed with teleportation technique game. It's very fun, very cool, and worth checking out. Alright, now that I've shown you 10 games that I think are great that are already out on the Switch, I also want to talk about how many games there are in total for Switch so far, about a month and a half after launch. So barely, you know, still practically launch period, like super soon after it's launched. The eShop, unfortunately, discovery on the eShop is not awesome yet. There's not a way to, they have a top 10 and they have new releases, but some games are harder to discover. You have to like search for them. But just on this screen alone, which isn't all the games, as I mentioned, there's 24 games. I'm pretty sure there's somewhere between 40, maybe almost as getting closer to 50 games, certainly more than 30. And if anyone knows for sure, let me know as how many games there are as of right now, like April 17th. But on Wikipedia, there is a list of, and I'm not saying Wikipedia is the most reliable source before you go crazy, but on Wikipedia there is a list of 177 Switch games that are supposed to be coming, and Nintendo has said itself that they're like 60 or 80 games that they can say for sure are in development. So listen, there were hundreds of games on the Wii U, literally hundreds of games on the Wii U. There will be probably hundreds of games on the Switch, and if you know, my opinion is that if people say, oh, there's no games, well, I think there are lots of games. People might think that there just aren't the games that they want, or there aren't the right type of games. So I want to talk about that next. So where does this perception that there are no games for Switch or Nintendo systems don't have enough games or the right type of games come from? Well, I have a theory. I think that one of the people who discuss and participate in discourse about games online, a lot of them are amateurs like me, a lot of them are hobbyists, but the people who sort of have the biggest voice, they're professional games journalists, people who get paid to play games for a living. And so if you are getting paid to play video games for a living, you're a hardcore gamer, hardest of the hardcore, if that's what your job, what you do for your living, for your profession. For the hardest of the hardcore, you probably have all 3 systems, you probably play everything or as much as you can, you know. And so when people talk about, oh, there's not enough big third-party games on Nintendo systems, or there won't be enough on the Switch, you know, those are people who play every single game, or a lot of games. I know I'm being hyperbolic when I say every single game. Nobody plays every single game. But I just want to give 2 examples of when the perception that Nintendo needs to have more big, gritty, Western style third-party games on their systems, that's what people really want, when that assumption has turned out to be false. The first example is when Grand Theft Auto was released on the DS, and they made a Chinatown Wars, an exclusive Grand Theft Auto game made from the ground up for the DS, and it was really good. Actually, I played it. I enjoyed it a lot, but it sold like crap. Nobody bought it, and So there's one example of, people say, oh, we need more big third-party games. I want this third-party game, this third-party game on my Nintendo system. It's like when that happens, people don't buy it. People buy Nintendo games, they buy smaller third-party games, they buy certain games. So I think that there is a need. I think the right type of games are being released for Nintendo systems, including Switch, and these gritty, big Western, triple A mammoth budget games, there's not as much of a market for them, and so Nintendo shouldn't try and woo the GTA guys to bring their games, or Call of Duty to bring their games to the Switch. On that note, Call of Duty, another example, Black Ops. I think it was Black Ops 2, correct me if I'm wrong. They brought it to the Switch. Nintendo had, I don't know how they convinced Activision to bring that game to the Switch. And then what happened again? PlayStation and the Xbox version, they sold, millions of copies, and the Wii U version sold hundreds of thousands. So, and I played that game again too. That was a good game. But it's sort of proof, I think, that there's this idea when people say, oh, there's the big third-party games don't come to Nintendo systems, the big third-party games aren't going to come to the Switch. There's a misunderstanding about what the audience that's buying a Nintendo system really wants, and I think that the audience that buys a Nintendo system is the mainstream general audience that's interested in playing games. It's not the hardest of the hardcore. It's not the people who have who make a living by playing games and talking about it online. But it's everybody else who's interested in playing games. And so I'm not to knock people who their bread and butter is getting home and playing Call of Duty until their eyes bleed and they fall asleep. But I think that the types of games that Nintendo is releasing for their systems are the ones that are going to be successful, and the types of games that they court to get on their systems, like Graceful Explosion Machine, like the stuff from Tomorrow Corporation, like the Snake Pass game I showed you. These games are the types of games that should be on the system. Destiny is not coming to the Switch. Persona is not coming to the Switch. Grand Theft Auto is probably not coming to the Switch. Call of Duty is probably not coming to the Switch. If you want those games, then you probably already have PlayStation and Xbox and probably not very interested in the Switch. But if you are interested in like everything else, if you're interested in fun, colorful, creative, cheery games, instead of the same old, headshot, then I think that there's an argument to be made that Nintendo could be or should be your primary game machine. That's my opinion, though. I appreciate you guys watching my video. Let me know if you disagree with me, if you agree with me. Tell me what your 10 favorite games on the Switch are, 10 favorite Nintendo games are. By all means, go nuts. I certainly don't claim that my opinion is gospel truth, but I really appreciate you guys watching the video, and I hope you're playing the Switch and enjoying Zelda and enjoying the other stuff just as much as I am. If you're playing other games, I hope you're enjoying that all too. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great Easter.